If modern design is the idea of form following function, then ultra-modern design is the belief that function is paramount. Today we're exploring a home that's all about glammed out modern indulgence to the max. Today's episode of Finest Homes, we take a look at an ultra-modern home set in the east of Johannesburg. We chat to architect Francois Marais and his team, as well as the homeowner, Lauren Lawrence, about what inspired this ultra-modern home. How's it, Francois? How's it going?
Hi, good, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Please come inside.
I'm so excited to see this beautiful home that you've created. Thank you very much. Wow. For Sean and Lauren Lawrence, they wanted a one-of-a-kind home, and architect Francois Marais was intent on delivering it for them. It took 3.5 years, but finally we have this unique home with spectacular views. This ultra-modern residence is testimony to Francois' drive to create signature designs. This home is one of a kind and is a reflection of the client's personality. The home is positioned next to a lake and takes full advantage of this with 180-degree views from almost every space within the house. Wow, Francois, this home is truly magnificent. And oftentimes you'd find homes like this described as ultra-modern or contemporary. How would you describe it?
So this particular residence would fall into the ultra-modern category. It's when you do something that kind of falls outside of the scope of the norm, or which is outside of the box. Your contemporary residences nowadays are more square line, clean lines, where this obviously makes use of the angular lines and does something which is not within the norm of the normal designs that are done.
Francois, I must say, this truly is an architectural treat with all the angles and colors and structures. What was the brief for this home?
When I initially met Sean and Lauren, we had a look at the design of the house. So they wanted a very nice open plan, spacious residence that lives to the outside. So their brief was designed as an entertainment style living house.
Now, if you stand just outside of the home, you'll notice that it seems like the home is kind of balancing on two pillars. How did you achieve that?
Well, we challenged the engineers here in order to get the structure the way that we wanted to have it. If you can look at the bottom, you'll see that there are very few walls in the bottom space. The reason why we did that is because we've got this magnificent view, as you can see here, and we wanted the house to be floating with as few columns and walls as possible, so that when you enter the residence, the entire residence would open up to you to create a very entertainment style residence.
Francois, talk to me about the key materials used for this home and how you made sure that they all work together and not become too complex.
Yes, we've used many different material types in order to get this. I think the biggest challenge here was getting the concrete work correct, because the concrete shapes the form of the house, and then putting the windows together, that became quite a big challenge for us, because almost every window is a wedge shape. We've had to use special technology glass here, which is a low E glazing, and that glazing protects you from the heat of the sun and also keeps the house warmer during the winter. So, putting the components together was very challenging, and we challenged many of the subcontractors in trying to get the end result correct. We've used many different types of materials here, as well as you can see the glass. We've used a lot of concrete. We played that off with the wooden decking, so combining some natural materials and some modern materials together in order to give us the greatest scope of this particular residence.
Now, a little bird told me that this home took 3.5 years to build. What was the most difficult aspect of that?
We had many challenges, with a unique residence like this. The one that we had was obviously the basement, and we had some poor soil conditions. So they did some piling in order to start the process. And the weather challenged us with the basement. On a few occasions, we were flooded out in the basement as a result of heavy rain and downpour at that time.
Yeah.
But the unique angles in the residence make it very challenging, and as a result, it takes time in order to get it right. So with a residence like this, you don't rush it, you do it right, because you'll only have one opportunity to do it that way.
I'm sure. But now, if you had issues with the basement, which sounds like the foundation of it all, how did you manage to achieve all of this?
Working hand in hand with the engineer, we achieved the goals that we had set out. These angular columns, as you can see here, they follow the lines of the glass and the way that we shaped the residence. So in order to get that right took time, and we wanted to make sure that it came to the masterpiece that we were hoping to achieve at the end of the day.
Okay, and I noticed that this isn't a conventional layout in terms of the flow of the home. Architecturally speaking, what is the thinking behind that?
Well, what we did is we looked at the way that Lauren and Sean entertained, and we split the residence effectively into two sections, which is your private section with your kitchen and your living area together, and then your more formal spaces, which is your dining room and your lounge and your bar. And in that way, it facilitates entertainment best, and it keeps the family and entertainment in two different portions of the house.
Ah, very clever. And now, I have also noticed the shape of the home. Did that have anything to do with the lighting, the natural lighting at all?
Yes, it did. What we've got is quite a unique shaped stand with angular lines. So what we did is when we planned the residence, it actually has a shape that it kind of flares out from the inside, and it creates kind of like a U configuration, and we utilize that in order to get the light into the bedrooms and into some of the living areas. And by doing that, it creates a private area in the center of the residence, which we use for our entertainment.
I love the seamlessness of the inside and the outside, and a kind of showstopper here is not just the view out there, but the pool that separates the home from the yard. Talk to me about that.
So the swimming pool was very closely integrated with the residence, so that there's a very close connection between the inside and outside of the spaces. And the swimming pool was also positioned in such a way to accommodate for the level difference that we have, facing onto the water. So in that way, it pulls your view across to the water, and it creates that integration of space that we were talking about a bit earlier.
Now for you, I mean, this is such an interesting looking home. What was the most exciting part for you?
I think bringing all the elements together it was the most challenging, and I think that at the end of the day, that is what creates the success of the residence. So we obviously bringing all the windows and all of the columns and so bringing the structural components and the architectural components together. At the end of the day, that creates the biggest challenge, and it creates the vision of the architect.
Stunning. Well, I'd love to see what you've got in store. Shall we head in?
Tamara, what I'd like to do is to introduce you to Lali, my business partner, and let him explain to you how we plan the inside of the residence.
Great, let's do it.
Don't go away. After the break, we explore the interior of this ultra-modern contemporary home.
In today's episode of Finest Homes, we explored an ultra-modern contemporary South African masterpiece set in the east of Johannesburg. Before the break, we chatted to architect Francois Marais about what inspired the design of this ultra-modern home, and now we get to explore the interior.
Tamara, I'd like to introduce you to Lali. He's going to talk you through the interior and the process of the design.
Great, thanks so much, Francois.
Pleasure.
Lali, talk me through the interior planning, and particularly, I'd love to talk about the flow of the home.
Yeah, the design is very much about revealing and concealing. As you come into the house, it opens up into a double volume. We reveal the staircase as a feature, and where the exterior is very much about the structure and the vertical elements. As soon as you come in, the focus on the horizontal elements, and then it opens up onto this beautiful landscape in front of us, the pool, the dam, and the golf course.
Now, when it comes to navigation around this home, this isn't the conventional setup, right?
Yes, the angles of the house creates some screens, so we reveal and conceal the whole time, so it's all about the views. So as you come in on the right hand side, you've got your family orientated areas. On the left hand side, the focus is more on the entertainment, and then it's connected with this patio and the pool area, all about open plan and letting spaces flow.
Now, talking about flow, what would you say are the key elements that allow the space to be so open?
I think it's the stacking doors and the use of glass. So we can stack all of this open onto the central patio, which connects this whole house and which also creates the privacy. And then pulling in the exterior colors into the inside, and then the immediate contrast from the darker colors to the white. As you progress through the house, there's also then you get back to the darker colors into the natural landscape.
Now, there's a certain lightness about this home. How did you achieve this from an architectural perspective?
Yeah, again, using sun angles. There is a bit of a challenge. You know, we're facing west, but then we create it by, again, our central patio, screened walls. There's the use of glazing, lots of glazing. And then the spaces are not too big, so it doesn't become dark. Okay, so the contrasting elements between the exterior and the interior will be the focus on the vertical elements, the slanting columns, the windows that are protruding outwards. And when you come into the interior, it's all about the view. So the focus is on the horizontal massing. So those columns sort of disappear. Yeah. Even the use of the glazing and the thin aluminium windows sections, so that the vertical elements sort of disappear into the landscape and you focus on the landscape, and the horizontal elements frame these beautiful pictures that we're revealing constantly throughout the house.
So attention isn't taken away from the real showstopper.
Yeah, so the focus from the outside is the inside, and the inside is the outside, and a duality in there, which creates a very nice narrative within this design.
The interior design has a sense of fun and energy. Perfect for hosting a party, Lauren wanted to make sure that the family felt relaxed and re-energized when at home. While there is a party atmosphere to the house, it has been designed in a timeless style that does not hold itself to any current look. So it shouldn't date like contemporary architecture, but at heart, it's about who lives here.
So Lauren, the moment I walked into your home, I got a hit of glam and a sense of ultra-modern. What was your vision for your home?
When we bought this stand, it had a magnificent view, and I wanted to create a lifestyle for my family.
Now, I want to talk about this room that we're in right now. You've got a beautiful blank canvas of white with a spot of color. Talk to me about your thinking around that.
Yes, I brought in white, as white is neutral and calm, and it never dates, it's timeless. And I brought in blue as I wanted to create a Mediterranean feel, especially as we entertain quite a lot. So I've brought in blue wallpaper. As you can see, the scatters are different textures. I've added blue food coloring into the glass bottles to pop blue. And blue is just for a sense of tranquility and peacefulness, and especially when it's hot, when you're in a blue room, you feel quite cool.
I love how your room reads and how the entire home reads in terms of space and openness. Talk to me about your brief to your architect about the architectural design.
Well, as a family, we like to be together, but not in each other's spaces all the time. So every room leads on to one another, and it's all open plan. We entertain a lot. As you can see outside, we can sit and have dinner outside, and then we've got a fire pit where the kids love to sit around there, brush marshmallows and tell stories with their friends. Everything opens up towards the pool, and it's such a lovely entertainment space.
Now, Lauren, you're a very busy woman. You're a mom, you're a wife, you own multiple businesses. How do you ensure you spend quality time with your family?
Well, if you have a look at the kitchen area, there's a TV room joined onto the kitchen, and it's all open plan. And while we're cooking, we like to spend time around the kitchen breakfast nook, kids doing homework and just catching up on the day.
The spectacular home mixes a party feel with a modern vision in glass and steel and everything a young family could wish for in a home.
Wow, now this looks so clean and sleek. I love it.
I've used a lot of black and white in this area, as black and white is timeless and it never dates. And look at the magnificent view.
Oh, this seems like such a special space to be in, and it feels so warm, especially because of the natural light that comes in, and of course your clever selection of light installations. What is your thinking behind that?
Yes, I've brought in a lot of blue lights, as you can see in the bulkhead and around strips around the TV cabinets to pop color. And as you can see, the chandeliers I've brought in, they look like kitchen whisks, just to create a kitchen feel.
Now, when I peek over my shoulder here, I can't help but notice a secret window in the pool. What's that all about?
Yes, that window, it brings a lot of light into the basement. It's in my kids' entertainment area, where they spend a lot of time after exams, and on the weekends they enjoy playing pool, playing games and inviting friends around just to relax.
Now, I can see your personality all over this home, but how did you ensure you incorporated the personalities of your husband and your kids to really make it a family home?
Well, I tried to make it suitable for our lifestyle. My kids, when they want to go watch movies, instead of going out to a cinema, they can watch movies at home. My kids are very health conscious, so we've got the gym upstairs where they like to train. Upstairs we have a relaxation pad. After a hard day's work, we like to lie up there, relax, look at the stars, and we've got a jacuzzi there. The bedrooms upstairs, I've done them in black and white as well. My bedroom and my daughter's bedroom are bling, and my son, on the other hand, is more masculine. I've made each bedroom unique because after a hard day you also want to go to your bedroom and just relax. And I'm the type of mom who would prefer to have my kids at home with all their friends than being places where I don't know where they are.
Growing up in this house must be the best of times. This is a family who don't want to wait for December holidays to enjoy life.
Now, I really love this space. With a view like this, it's something quite special, isn't it?
Well, the Holly we bought is our garden. We're very blessed and fortunate to live here. We have lots of buck around the estate, and my garden, I've brought in a lot of colour, especially seasonal plants in winter and summer. So winter I love putting in poppies, and summer I love to put all the summer seedlings in just to add colour.
Lauren, this truly is a fantastic home, and I can totally see how you and your family can create amazing memories in this beautiful establishment.
Thank you so much, Jamila, and thank you so much for coming.
The good times enjoyed here are the return on a lot of hard work invested by the owners. Their house is a place for business, entertaining, a showroom for Lauren, a playground for their children, and clearly a happy family home. Don't go away. After the break, we'll show you how you can achieve this look at home. In today's episode of Finest Homes, we explored an ultra-modern contemporary South African masterpiece set in the east of Johannesburg. Up next, we'll give you a few tips and tricks on how to get this look in your own home. This ultra-modern home features eye-pleasing aesthetics both indoors and outdoors. The interiors showcase a cool-looking color scheme that leaves the home looking slick and chic. And Tavi, our home this episode is really somewhat of a powerhouse. And I'm not just talking about the homeowner, the location as well. That blue and white is so impactful.
It is, Jamila, and it's flowing so beautifully throughout the house. This time around, we have a white interior with blue accents, and it just really makes the house pop.
And remember, we've worked with this before. We had a Hampton-style home.
Yes.
And it's interesting that you say it's a white home with
blue accents, yes.
What is the difference?
The other home was blue and white. It had an equal amount of that. This one is extremely white with its canvas, and the accents come in with the blue fabrics, with the blue details on.
I must say the selection of materials that were used did kind of speak to the white blank canvas.
It did.
And I kind of do get the point of kind of the blue
accents.
That's
yes,
it.
Absolutely.
Blue accent.
And cleverly so, with the white and the openness of the house, the use of perspex also creates that illusion of space, translucency and flow, and very airy. You get this feel it could be anywhere. It could be along the beach. It could be just coastal home because of the crispness of it, and then the furniture just becomes so light that it doesn't prevent the flow of the color palette being so distinctly white and blue.
So talking about the two colors, it sounds like proportion and scale matter.
Yes, it does.
And they've used that through their furniture specifically, and I see what you've selected for us here are pretty transparent furnishings.
Absolutely.
Talk us through that.
So we start obviously with the cluster of mirrors, and I love the way she's used black mirror with a little bit of pops of white mirror. It's just another little cheeky detail that we've added there. And her silverware with those open spaces just flows into the feel. The dining table is perspex, the dining chairs are perspex, and then you have a touch of white to complement the canvas of the house. And then you've got a very interesting unit that obviously I could not source. It looks custom made for her home. But I just thought if you want to create that look, white duco would serve the day. And even her fan style light is just giving that air. It's just circulating the air in that house. And of course the cluster of ceramic vases in 3 just ties it in together. Then we also looked at her flowers that she's brought in. The St. Joseph lilies and the roses are just the splash of extra color that she can change as and when she feels like it to still keep her palette white and blue.
Brilliant. I'd like to talk a little bit about the placement of the mirrors. So upon entrance, you kind of saw them facing against you.
Yes.
And it was against a wall, so it didn't feel like the wall kind of slapped you in the face upon arrival. It opened up the space a little bit. Can you talk to us about the functioning of mirrors and the placement, the right placement of them?
Well, what's nice about this home is that she's used round mirrors. To get that space feeling and open air, you can use a full mirror on that wall. Then it just breaks the space. There's no definition of where the wall is and where the mirror ends.
Exactly.
It's just everything gets reflected also back in the room. So how you cleverly place it, you can make the room look bigger. You can make the room look like it's got multifaceted areas. And it just helps with the flow in this airy type of environment.
I'm very glad you mentioned flow, because the navigation of that home was not that conventional. And I think this was a perfect introduction into kind of the overall theme and space of the home.
And also a focal feature, because when you walked in, you saw that.
Absolutely.
And when you saw that, you saw yourself.
Exactly.
So you felt welcomed into the home because the home reflected you.
Exactly. And then beyond this room, we had the outside area. It was almost like upon entry, you could find yourself going out within seconds.
Yeah.
And so kind of the decoration and the decor involved in that process had to be quite strategic.
It did. And also the use of no curtains. So the inside and the outside became one. It's just flowing. It pulls you through. And the continuation of the color palette makes it all feel like one space.
Now, from that room, we then shift into kind of the living room where the family gets to have a bit of a party. There's a bar right there.
And there's a little bit more blue.
And we've got this massive, beautiful couch in the middle of the room. And I see you've selected some fabrics for us that kind of mimic the style that's been achieved there.
Of course, again, playing on the white and blue with the chrome and the perspex, I focused on a similar style of the sofa, more classical with the modern style feel.
Right.
Chrome still being the detail in there, white leather sofas, and then that splash of artwork with the blue. I thought you could do that with paint, anything that you want to enhance that feeling of white and blue. There's so many ways you can play in that. And then she's got a fantastic pattern on the drapery, which just makes it so much more artistic in this clean cut look, because the pattern on the curtain is quite wild.
Yes.
And it draws your attention to that, and it softens the interior. And again, the silvery, the metallic feel helps also to make it more tactile. The use of blue on the cushions then links it all back, and again, bringing it through with glassware solidifies the scheme and the coloring that she's got.
Right, so let's deep dive a little bit in your selection of fabrics that you've got here for us. What are we working with?
So first and foremost, we're working with white, and you have different versions of the white leather. There's quite a speckled one, and there's a smooth, rough texture, which is also helping with the character of the furniture that we're bringing through.
Great.
And then just different levels of blue. You've got the deep blue, and then you've got this quite primary neon blue that was quite exciting. And then the metallics that we brought through.
Gorgeous.
You've got that element, which is quite squishy, and then the velvety feel that just helps to create this palette of entertainment. And of course, this one I thought could also be interesting for a drapery, you know? Just for that movement of all the colors coming together. If you can see the blue, the white, the silver,
stunning. It all blends
it just
together.
blends and it ties the scheme together.
Well, I'm so glad you chose some leather for us, because this was a real party house, to the extent where there was a beautiful, you guessed it, blue bar that was perfectly stocked and mimicked the downstairs bar for the kiddies as well. How do we achieve this look without looking like a club?
Well, maybe you could look like a Mediterranean club, because it's clubby. It's really clubby. So the secret is obviously to do the white deco in everything that you do, and then your backlighting, your hidden lights, your strobe lights can then be interchangeable. And in this case, blue is the theme that is coming through. So you can light your bar, you can light your back counters. I think she lit her back counters with some strobe lights, and then bring in the white leather chairs to complement the rest of the look.
Okay, so if we're trying to achieve this look, besides just the color selection, how do we achieve it?
There's also chrome, there's a lot of perspex, there's a lot of glassware, there's a lot of silverware, and it's a very modern interpretation of a normal living space. So your palette is white, your blank canvas is white, your accents are blue. You must actually throw the accents in. That's what she's done with the cushions, with the artwork. It's not detailed blue, it's just elements of blue, and then just declutter the space to get that translucency of what she's achieved.
So if we were to call it top 3, what would we say? 1,
White,
2,
blue,
3,
perspex.
perfect.
Growing up in this house must be the best of times. This is a family who don't want to wait for December holidays to enjoy life. This ultra-modern residence is testimony to Francois' drive to create signature designs. This home is one of a kind and is a reflection of both Lauren and Sean's personalities. This truly is a finest home.